But let's talk about the second T20I and what do you expect from it? Firstly, let's talk about the conditions. Mohit, do you think the conditions for the second ODI T20 will be also very similar to this? And what did you make of the wicket in general?
Yeah, I think the conditions should be more or less similar because there's only 2 days between the two games and it's the same stadium and the same ground. So I don't think there should be too much of a difference in terms of the conditions. As for the wicket, I thought it was a fair wicket. It had enough in it for the bowlers as well as the batters. If you played good quality shots, you could get enough reward for it. While at the same time, there was a little bit of natural variation that was on offer for the spinners, especially, which didn't make batting very easy because sometimes the ball was turning, sometimes it wasn't turning. So I think the pitch made for really good quality cricket, and both the sides bowled pretty well, but there is a lot of scope for improvement in both teams' batting. Like India would obviously want to lose fewer wickets in the power play and get off to better starts and probably take a little bit of time and the conditions into account before going for the big shots. And similarly, I think Sri Lanka, on the other hand, need to show some more impetus and initiative in the power play because that is where I felt they lost the match today because they lost like 3 wickets within the first 7 overs, including probably their two most informed batters, Chamari Atapattu and Harshita Madhvi. So those wickets really jolted them. And a lot of the Indian bowling and the power play was good, but not wicket taking. Like if you look at the balls which Radha Yadav bowled both to Harshita and Chamari, they were on the shorter side, and there were like, and the shot was on. It's just the execution which was lacking. So I think Sri Lanka had the right ideas, but they would want to probably focus a little more on their execution.
India's batting today was a little disappointing, as you mentioned rightly. There was a collapse which we have come to see in the last few months. But what actually was there was a stat during the game that kind of intrigued me was Smriti Mandhana, who is such an elegant batter. We all know that, but her numbers against Sri Lanka in the T20 format is quite poor. She averages about 14 and strike rate of less than 100, if I'm not wrong. So Annesha, is there something that is getting her out again and against Sri Lanka? Today also we saw she chipped one up. It was caught inside the circle. Is there something that is pegging her against Sri Lanka?
Yeah, that's something in cricketing terminology is known as off spinners, especially Sri Lankan off spinners. We did speak a lot about how Shashikala Sirivardhane made her life difficult during one of the earlier tours, India's earlier tours of Sri Lanka. And here, Oshadi Ranasinghe stepped up on this occasion and really did not let her off the hook, so to speak. Smriti has struggled against off spin. She has tried to, make amends against the likes of Ashley Gardner, but it still remains a bit of a shortcoming in her ever-growing repertoire, her ever-growing stature as a world-class batter. So that's something for her to work on. Probably it's more here than with the bat. If that is overcome, I'm pretty sure Smriti Mandhana will be more fluent, more effective, and more prolific, not just against Sri Lanka, but the breed of off spinners in particular. But Oshadi Ranasinghe, I'm pretty sure she's going to come into the second T20I high on confidence because Mandana is India's one of India's premier batters, and for her to have gotten out pretty much playing that clueless shot, not sure what she was really playing for, I think it should put Oshadi Ranasinghe on a bit of a higher plane than Mandana, as far as the confidence levels are concerned.
Speaking of which, the Indian batting, again, we spoke about the Indian batting in lengths, but Sri Lanka's bowling today was quite good, if you have to say. But what differently should the approach be in terms of their batting? Because Mohit, if I'm not, correct me if I'm wrong, even in the Pakistan series, they got similar kind of scores. It just seems that the batting is struggling to, as I had previously spoken, get big totals. What do you think they should do against a quality bowling unit which India has?
Yeah, I think they need to focus on rotating the strike a lot better because I think they played out a lot of dot balls in the power play. And I get it that like not all their players are capable of finding the boundary regularly or capable of hitting the big sixes like someone like Chamari Atapattu can. So there are a few limitations which their batters have. So they need to like find a way to work with those limitations, because it's not always easy to get boundaries regularly against a high class attack. But they probably need to work a little more on finding the gaps with more regularity, using the crease a little better against the spinners, be it in terms of stepping out or playing off the back foot. So I think, and one of their batters needs to bat out the 20 overs, because this is a team which is very top heavy. So you need one of Chamari, Harshita, or Kavisha to bat for most of the 20 overs, because there are not a lot of players who can like play the 20 overs and also score at a decent rate in the Sri Lankan team. They really would want Chamari Atapattu and Harshita to step up and take that responsibility of batting deep into the innings.
Is, is that an option for both of them to start opening the innings together? Because Chamari is already opening. Is that an option for Sri Lanka, Annesha?
I wouldn't want to make, have knee-jerk changes come into effect, especially given this was just the first match. They have gone in with a new opener. We did not have Hassani Pereira open this time around, as was the case in the Pakistan tour. So, it would be fair on both teams to stick to the playing 11s they fielded today. I know S. Meghna, for example, got out on a duck today, but it makes all the sense for Harmanpreet to back her player, back her number three, back S make at number three, number four, and the same applies to Chamari Yatapatu, sticking to the fielders, sticking to the personnel she opted for today, and give them a bit of a long rope, at least a couple of games, and see how things pan out. And for somebody like Kavisha Dilhari, we know she's performing well in that number four, number five role, so might as well stick to that. And once she grows more in confidence, this is one of the more formidable bowling attacks she's facing. Obviously, the Indian attack holds great reputation, so hopefully she will be able to grow into this role of a key middle order cog. And once that happens, once that is has taken effect, I think she can be given a bit of a promotion, but it should be only considered much later and not ahead of the Commonwealth Games, in my opinion.